I still remember the sound of that knock. Not because it was loud. It wasn't. It was actually the opposite. A quiet knock. The kind of knock from someone who almost walked away before they found the courage to try one last time. It was almost midnight. The rain was falling outside, and I was standing in my kitchen washing the same coffee cup I used every single night. The house was silent. The kind of silence I had convinced myself was peaceful. But looking back now, maybe it was just loneliness I had gotten used to. Then I heard it. 3 soft knocks on my front door. I looked at the clock. 11:47 p.m. Nobody visits at that hour unless something is wrong. When I opened the door, I forgot how to speak, because standing under my porch light was the last person I ever expected to see again. Evelyn, my ex-wife's mother. Her hair was wet from the rain. Her hands were wrapped tightly around the handle of a small brown suitcase. And her eyes looked like they belonged to someone who had been fighting a battle nobody knew about. Evelyn? That was all I could say. 5 years. That's how long it had been. 5 years since the divorce. 5 years since I said goodbye to Rachel. 5 years since I believed that entire family was no longer a part of my life. But now Rachel's mother was standing at my door. And then she said something I will never forget. Daniel, I didn't know where else to go. I moved aside and let her in. No questions, no hesitation. Because whatever happened between me and Rachel, Evelyn was never my enemy. She sat at my kitchen table that night holding a warm cup of tea, but her hands were still shaking. And I noticed something strange. She wasn't scared of being outside. She was scared of being unwanted. I understood that feeling, maybe more than anyone. My name is Daniel Carter. I'm 42 years old. And for the last 15 years, I have restored old furniture for a living. People bring me broken things they think have no value anymore. A table covered in scratches, a chair missing a leg, something forgotten in a basement for 20 years. Most people look at those things and see what is broken. I look at them and wonder what happened to them, because nothing becomes damaged without a story. People are the same way. And I think that is why I understood Evelyn, because both of us had been thrown away by the same person. Rachel, my ex-wife. When Rachel and I first met, she was completely different. Or maybe I just wanted to believe she was. She used to tell me she loved that I was simple. She said she loved that I didn't chase money like everyone else. She said my peaceful life made her feel safe. But over the years, the same things she loved became the things she hated. My small workshop became embarrassing. My normal house became disappointing. My simple dreams became a problem. She wanted more. More money. More attention. More things to show people. And I was just the man who came home smelling like wood and hard work. One night, she looked at me and said, Daniel, you are a good man, but sometimes good isn't enough. I still remember that sentence, because it was the moment I realized I had already lost her. The divorce was quiet, and sometimes quiet endings hurt more. No screaming, no fighting. Just 2 people signing papers and pretending 7 years of memories could fit inside a folder. After Rachel left, everyone connected to her disappeared. Her friends, her family, everyone, including Evelyn. But losing Evelyn felt different, because she was the only one who ever saw me. At family dinners, everyone asked Rachel about her career. Nobody asked me about my work, except Evelyn. She remembered everything. She remembered the first chair I restored. She remembered my favorite coffee. She remembered small details that even Rachel forgot. At the time, I thought she was just kind. I didn't realize how rare it is to find someone who actually pays attention. So when she appeared at my door 5 years later, a part of me already knew I couldn't turn her away. That night, after almost 30 minutes of silence, Evelyn finally told me why she came. Rachel had remarried. I already knew that. A successful man. A bigger house. A better life. The kind of life she always wanted. Evelyn moved in with them because Rachel asked her to. She helped with everything. Cooking. Cleaning. Taking care of the house. Being there whenever her daughter needed her. Just like she had done since Rachel was a child. But then everything changed. Rachel and her husband decided to move. A new city, a new house, a fresh start. But there was no room for Evelyn in that fresh start. After a lifetime of being needed, she suddenly became a problem. She told me it was time for me to live my own life, Evelyn whispered. Then she smiled. But it wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind of smile people use when they don't want you to see how badly something hurt them. I knew that smile, because I had used it too. I prepared the guest room for her. She kept saying, "Only a few days." But something about the way she said it told me she didn't believe her own words. And what I didn't know that night was that Evelyn wasn't completely honest with me. She had other places she could have gone, other people she could have called. But she came to me. And the real reason why would change both of our lives forever. The next morning felt strange, not because something big happened, actually, because something very small happened. I walked into the kitchen like I had done every morning for the last 5 years. But this time, the room wasn't empty. Evelyn was already awake, and on the counter were 2 cups of coffee, one for her and one for me. I picked mine up and stopped. Black coffee, no sugar. Exactly how I liked it. After 5 years, she still remembered. "You remembered?" I asked. She looked at me like the answer was obvious. Of course I did. That was all she said. But those 4 words stayed with me. Because sometimes people don't understand how powerful small things can be. Rachel and I were married for 7 years. But near the end, she stopped noticing everything. She stopped asking about my day. She stopped caring about the little details. And somehow Evelyn remembered them after 5 years away. I tried not to think about it. I told myself she was just being kind. Nothing more. But over the next few weeks, the house slowly started changing. Not in big ways, small ways. The kind of things you only notice when someone actually cares. The old plant near the window that I forgot to water suddenly looked alive again. The kitchen had music playing in the morning. The empty rooms didn't feel empty anymore. For years, I thought I enjoyed living alone. But maybe I had just learned how to survive it. There is a difference between peace and getting used to loneliness. Every evening after work, Evelyn and I would sit outside and talk. At first, we talked about normal things, the weather, the neighborhood, old memories. But slowly, the conversations became deeper. She told me about raising Rachel alone, how she worked double shifts, how she skipped meals sometimes just to make sure her daughter had everything. Everything Evelyn did, she did for Rachel. And that was why it hurt so much. Because the person she sacrificed everything for was the same person who made her feel unwanted. One evening, I was fixing an old wooden table in my workshop. Evelyn walked in and watched quietly. After a few minutes, she asked, "Why do you spend so much time fixing things other people throw away?" I smiled. "I guess I like proving they were never worthless." She looked at the table. Then she looked at me. And for a second, it felt like she wasn't talking about furniture anymore. "You always did that, Daniel. You always saw value where other people didn't." I didn't know what to say, because sometimes a person says exactly what your heart needed to hear. The weeks continued passing, and something started happening that neither of us wanted to admit. I started looking forward to coming home, not because dinner was waiting, not because the house was cleaner, but because someone was there, someone who actually cared whether I came home or not. And that scared me, because this wasn't supposed to happen. This was Evelyn, Rachel's mother, my ex-wife's mother. The world would never understand it. Maybe even I didn't understand it, so I ignored it. And I think Evelyn did too. But feelings don't disappear just because you refuse to name them. Then one afternoon, everything changed. I was outside when a car stopped in front of my house. At first, I didn't recognize it. But when the door opened, my entire body froze. Rachel. 5 years later, my ex-wife was standing in my driveway. She looked almost exactly the same. Confident. Expensive clothes. The kind of person who wanted everyone to know she was successful. But she wasn't smiling. She looked angry. "Where is my mother? No hello. No, how have you been?" Nothing. I opened the door and let her inside. The moment Evelyn saw Rachel, her face changed. A mother always loves her child, even when that child hurts her. And I could see that part of Evelyn still wanted Rachel to run into her arms. But she didn't. Rachel looked around the house. Then she looked at her mother. "Do you understand how embarrassing this looks?" Those words made the room go silent. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "I missed you." The first thing she cared about was what other people would think. Evelyn looked down, and for the first time since she arrived, I saw her look small. Rachel turned toward me. "You always do this, Daniel." I looked at her. "Do what? Play the hero. Act like the good guy. Make everyone believe you're the only one who cares." That sentence took me back 5 years. Back to our marriage. Back to always feeling like no matter what I did, it was wrong. But this time was different. I wasn't the same man she left. I looked at Rachel and said, "You gave your mother a place in your house when you needed her. But when she needed you, you gave her a suitcase." For the first time that day, Rachel had nothing to say, because sometimes the truth hurts more than anger. She left a few minutes later, but the damage was already done. That night, I walked past the guest room, and I saw something that broke my heart. Evelyn's suitcase was on the bed, packed, ready to leave. Again, I stood outside the guest room door for almost a minute, looking at that suitcase. The same suitcase Evelyn carried when she came to my door. The same suitcase that held the pieces of a life she was forced to leave behind. And now she was ready to pick it up again. "Evelyn?" She quickly wiped her face before turning around, like she didn't want me to know she had been crying. "I think it's better if I go, Daniel." I looked at her. "Why?" She stayed quiet, because both of us already knew the answer. Rachel's words had reached the exact place she wanted them to. The part of Evelyn that always believed her own happiness mattered less than everyone else's. "I don't want people judging you because of me," she whispered. I looked at the suitcase, then back at her. "You spent your whole life protecting other people. Who protected you?" She didn't answer, because nobody had. For the first time, Evelyn wasn't being asked what she could give someone. She was being asked what she needed, and that question was harder for her to answer. She sat on the edge of the bed and finally told me the truth. The truth she had been hiding since the night she arrived. "I had somewhere else to go, Daniel." I looked at her. "What?" "My sister offered me a room. I had money saved. I could have stayed somewhere else." She looked down. "I didn't come here because you were my only option. I came here because you were the only place that ever felt like home." The room became completely silent, because sometimes one sentence can change the way you see everything. For weeks, I thought I was helping Evelyn. I thought I was saving her. But the truth was, she had been saving me too. Before she arrived, I had a house. But I didn't have a home. I had a life. But I wasn't really living it. I spent 5 years convincing myself that I was fine alone. But sometimes being used to something doesn't mean it isn't hurting you. After Rachel left, I told her. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought maybe I really wasn't enough. Evelyn looked at me. "Daniel, Rachel's biggest mistake was thinking a person's value comes from what they can show the world. She never understood that the most valuable things are usually the quiet ones." That was Evelyn. She noticed things other people ignored. She saw beauty in simple things. And maybe that was why she saw me. Months passed after that night. Evelyn stayed. But not because she needed somewhere to live. She stayed because she wanted to. And slowly, life became something neither of us expected. We didn't care about what people whispered. We didn't care about people who judged a story they didn't understand, because they only saw the outside. They saw my ex-wife's mother. They saw something unusual, but they didn't see the years of pain, the loneliness, the quiet moments that slowly brought two broken people back to life. They didn't see the mornings when she made coffee before I woke up. They didn't see the evenings when we sat outside talking until the sky went dark. They didn't see how two people who had been forgotten finally remembered what it felt like to matter. A year later, Rachel called. I was surprised when I saw her name on my phone. Part of me thought she was calling to argue, but she wasn't. Her voice sounded different, quieter. She asked to speak with Evelyn. I gave her the phone. They talked for almost an hour. I never asked what was said. Some conversations belong only to the people having them. But when Evelyn came back, her eyes were full of tears. Not sad tears. The kind of tears people cry when they finally put down something heavy. She apologized, Evelyn said. 2 simple words. But I knew how much they meant. Life didn't magically become perfect after that. Real life never does. People make mistakes. Families break. Hearts take time to heal. But sometimes life gives you a second chance in a way you never expected. Today, 5 years have passed since the night Evelyn knocked on my door. The same house that used to feel empty is now full of memories. And that old brown suitcase? It's still here, sitting at the top of the closet, covered in dust. Because she doesn't need it anymore. She finally stopped running. And I finally stopped pretending I didn't need anyone. Sometimes the person who changes your life isn't the person you were searching for. Sometimes it's the person you never expected. Evelyn didn't knock on my door because she had nowhere else to go. She knocked because she finally chose the place she wanted to be. And I didn't open the door because I felt sorry for her. I opened it because a part of me had been waiting for someone to knock. If you were in my position, would you have opened that door? Would you choose happiness even if other people didn't understand? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. And if this story touched your heart, subscribe for more stories about love, life, and the moments that change everything.